Come on with me. Dex blinked. What? Come on with me. You can't sleep out in this. Says who? The defiance in Dex's eyes broke Seb's heart. Dex had never admitted he had no place to call home, and it seemed he never would. Says me, Seb snapped. I'm working at home tonight, and you're coming with me. Dex stared at him, his face inscrutable, and the silence stretched on, punctuated only by a brutal clap of thunder. What do you want from me? Seb stepped closer and touched the fading marks on Dex's face. I want you to be safe and dry, even if it's only for one night. I can't. Fuck. I can't leave you out here. Please don't make me. He expected a fight, stubborn resistance, or even downright rejection, but Dex had been surprising him since the night he'd stepped out of the shadows and into his life. Dex shrugged and shifted his ever-present backpack to his other shoulder. All right. You don't have to drag me. I'm coming. Seb hadn't realized he'd grabbed the sleeves of Dex's tatty sweatshirt. Startled, he let go. Really? You'll come with me? Said I would, didn't I? Seb had no answer for that. Instead, he turned and dashed back to his abandoned stack of equipment, trusting Dex would follow. He did, and though he seemed a little confused by the task, he helped Seb hoof the remainder of the equipment back to the cottage. Once inside, he seemed a little lost and wet. They'd both been caught in the rain, but it was obvious Dex had been out in it far longer than Seb. Chances were the cottage was the first time he'd been indoors since he'd had supper at the shop the previous night. Seb kicked off his trainers and opened the cupboard under the stairs. He found a clean towel and tossed it to Dex. Go take a hot shower. I'll find you some clothes. Dex glanced toward the steep stairs of the cottage. You want me to go upstairs in your house? Bathroom is first door on the right. Seb headed for the kitchen without waiting for a response. He felt better having Dex safe in his home, but that didn't change the fact that he had 20 kilos of fudge to make before morning. He was on the first batch of the last flavour, vanilla, when Dex reappeared, dressed in the tracksuit bottoms and t-shirts Seb had left for him on the landing. The clothes were huge on him, clinging to his slender frame and highlighting the protruding bones of his hips and shoulders, but without the perpetual layer of dirt, Dex's pale skin seemed to shimmer in the fading light of the day. With his damp hair sticking up and out in every direction, it was a startling combination. With considerable effort, Seb tore his gaze away and focused on the pan of bubbling fudge. He didn't have time to make any more mistakes, and he didn't look up as Dex skulked to the sink and slipped seamlessly into his well-practiced role of cleaning up Seb's mess. They worked in companionable silence for an hour or so. Esme appeared at some point and watched them suspiciously from the cardboard box she'd claimed on top of the fridge. When the last batch of molten fudge reached the perfect soft-ball temperature, Seb poured it onto the marble cooling slab and pushed it around with a wooden paddle. The rhythm of the task was soothing, and the one part of his job he found vaguely relaxing. He'd fairly dropped off the face of the earth by the time he became aware of Dex beside him, closer than he'd ever been before. All right, Dex peered at the cooling slab. Why are you doing that? To cool it down so it sets, then I can cut it. It smells nice. Dex sniffed the air. The sweet, buttery scent of vanilla seemed to travel through his lean frame. It smells like you. Seb smiled, remembering Dex had never seen the fudge being made before, just the messy aftermath. Want to taste it? Really? Seb swiped his work-hardened index finger through the still-hot fudge and held it out. Here you go. He expected Dex to take the fudge from him with his newly clean thumb. The last thing he expected was the slippery heat of his tongue.